Jai Hind. This video is helpful to understand Starlink. In this video, you will find about Elon Musk's satellite internet venture. The billionaire SpaceX CEO is launching satellites into orbit and promising to deliver high-speed broadband internet to as many users as possible. When you think of billionaire entrepreneur Elon Musk's, chances are good that you think of his electric car company Tesla, or his space exploration venture SpaceX, or his recent stint hosting Saturday Night Live, to say nothing of his history of stirring up controversy on social media or smoking weed with Joe Rogan. Maybe you just know him as the second richest person on earth. Jeff Bezos retook the top spot earlier this year. Something you might be less familiar with is a venture of Musk called Starlink, which aims to sell internet connection to almost anyone on the planet by way of a growing network of private satellites orbiting overhead. After years of development within SpaceX and after securing nearly $885.5 million in grant funds from the Federal Communication Commission at the end of 2020, Starlink's progress seems to be accelerating in 2021. In January, after about 3 years worth of successful launches, the project surpassed 1,000 satellites delivered into orbit. Now in May, the number sits at 1,625. Earlier in February, Musk's company disclosed that Starlink now serves more than 10,000 customers. Now the service is in the process of expanding pre-orders to even more potential customers, with people currently living without access to high-speed internet as one of the top priorities. All of that makes Starlink well worth keeping an eye on in 2021. For now, here's everything you should know about it. Okay, start at the beginning. What is Starlink exactly? So, technically a division within SpaceX, Starlink is also the name of the spaceflight company's growing network or constellation or orbital satellites. The development of that network began in 2015 with the first prototype satellites launched into orbit in 2018. In the years since, SpaceX has deployed over 1,000 Starlink satellites into orbit across dozens of successful launches. In January, for its first Starlink mission of 2021, SpaceX launched 60 satellites into orbit from Kennedy Space Center using the landable relaunchable Falcon 9 orbital rocket. Subsequent launches, the most recent of which delivered another 60 satellites into orbit on May 9, have brought the total number of satellites in the constellations up to 1,625. Now a huge question is, are those satellites can connect home to the internet? Now the answer is yes. Just like existing providers of satellite internet like HuxNet or Viasat, Starlink wants to sell internet access particularly to people in rural areas and other parts of the world who don't already have access to high-speed broadband. Starlink is ideally suited for areas of the globe where connectivity has typically been a challenge. The Starlink website reads, unbounded by traditional ground infrastructure, Starlink can deliver high-speed broadband internet to locations where access has been unreliable or completely unavailable. All you need to do make the connection is to set up a small satellite dish at your home to receive the signal and pass the bandwidth onto your router. There's even a Starlink app for Android and iOS that uses augmented reality to help customers pick the best locations and position for their receivers. Starlink service is only available in select regions in the US, Canada, and abroad at this point, but the service now boasts more than 10,000 customers and the coverage map will continue to grow as more satellites make their way into the constellation. Eventually, Starlink hopes to blanket the entire planet in a usable high-speed Wi-Fi signal. Now the another question is, how fast is Starlink's internet service? Users can expect to see data speeds vary from 50 to 150 megabits per second and latency from 20 to 40 milliseconds in most locations over the next several months, Starlink's website says, while also warning of brief periods of no connectivity at all. As we launch more satellites, install more ground stations, and improve our networking software, data speed, latency, and uptime will improve dramatically. To that end, Musk tweeted in February that he expects the service to double its top speeds to 300 megabytes per second by the end of 2021. The another question is, what does Starlink cost? Starlink has begun accepting pre-orders from customers interested in joining the company's Better Than Nothing beta program. The cost of this service is billed at $99 per month, plus taxes and fees, plus an initial payment of $500 for the mountable satellite dish and router that you will need to install at home. Starlink says that it's taking orders from customers on a first time come first served basis and that some pre-orders could take as long as 6 months to fulfill. $99 per month is a lot for an internet connection, especially one that is not nearly as fast as fiber connection. But Musk is betting that the cost will be worth it for people who have thus far lived without access to a reliably fast connection at all. And the another question is why satellites anyway is not fiber faster? Fiber or internet delivered via ground. Lead fiber optic cable offers upload and download speeds that are indeed much faster than satellite internet. But as you companies like Google will tell you, there's nothing fast about deploying the infrastructure necessary to get fiber to people's home. That's not to say that there's anything simple about shooting satellites into space, but with fewer sharp elbowed competitors and with a lot less red tape to cut through, there's every reason to believe that services like Starlink will reach the bulk of undeserved communities long before fiber ever will. Recent FCC filings also suggest that Starlink could ultimately double as a dedicated phone service too. And don't forget that this is Elon Musk we are talking about. SpaceX is the only company on the planet with a landable, reusable rocket capable of delivering payload after payload into orbit. That's a mighty advantage in the commercial space race. On top of that, Musk said in 2018 that Starlink will help provide SpaceX with revenue needed to fund the company's long held ambition to establish a base on Mars. If that arrives, it's also likely that SpaceX will try to establish a satellite constellation on the Red Planet too. That means that Starlink customers are potentially doubling as Genia picks for the Martian wireless networks of the future. If you send a million people to Mars, you better provide some way for them to communicate, said SpaceX President Gwynne Shotwell in 2016. Speaking about the company's long-term vision for Starlink, I don't think the people who go to Mars are going to be satisfied with some terrible old-fashioned radios. They will want their iPhones or Android on Mars. And other question is, what about bad weather and other obstructions? That's definitely one of the downsides to satellite internet. Per Starlink's fact, the receiver is capable of melting snow that lands on it, but it can't do anything about surrounding snow buildup and other obstructions that might block its line of sight to the satellite. We recommend installing Starlink in a location that avoids snow buildup and other obstructions that might block its line of sight to the satellite. We recommend installing Starlink in a location that avoids snow buildup and other obstructions from blocking the field of view. The fact is, heavy rain or wind can also affect your satellite internet connection, potentially leading to slower spreads for a rare outage. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day.